makings of a chart. Price, the most important one. Supporting one is volume, and the second supporting one is time. Okay, and at different replays, different days, different times of the session, and at different days of the week, each of these three play differently, right? So you know that between 2:30 and 3:30, because of the option plays and because of settlement pressure, because of this particular time, 2:30 to 3:30, the market works differently, right? And that point of time, the time becomes more important than price and even sometimes volume. But at certain times, let's say about 9:15 to 10:15, the volume component of the market is more important. A lot of traders are brought up into thinking that price is everything, and that concept is still there. Bhav Bhagwan Che, But Bhav is not the only Bhagwan. Bhav is not the only Bhagwan. There are three Bhagwans. One is price, one is volume, and the third one is time. And if you can pay attention to these three, especially as a derivative trader, you will cut out a lot of mistakes, which you make in derivative trading. The whole idea as retail traders is to eliminate rookie mistakes. Before you start making money, before you actually become profitable, you have to think about how you're going to be eliminating your stupid mistakes. You get a cleaner idea about what the market is going to do next. So always keep this futures chart open. It will tell you a lot more about what you are doing. About price action and volume action. So what we are focused on is the volume action, right? There are about three elements, which go into the makings of a chart. Price, the most important one. Supporting one is volume, and the second supporting one is time. Okay, and at different replays, different days, different times of the session, and at different days of the week, each of these three play differently, right? So you know that between 2:30 and 3:30, because of the option plays and because of settlement pressure, because of this particular time, 2:30 to 3:30, the market works differently, right? And that point of time, the time becomes more important than price and even sometimes volume. But at certain times, let's say about 9:15 to 10:15, the volume component of the market is more important. A lot of traders are brought up into thinking that price is everything, and that concept is still there. Bhav Bhagwan Che, But Bhav is not the only Bhagwan. Bhav is not the only Bhagwan. There are three Bhagwans. One is price, one is volume, and the third one is time. And if you can pay attention to these three, especially as a derivative trader, you will cut out a lot of mistakes, which you make in derivative trading. The whole idea as retail traders is to eliminate rookie mistakes. Before you start making money, before you actually become profitable, you have to think about how you're going to be eliminating your stupid mistakes. You get a cleaner idea about what the market is going to do next. So always keep this futures chart open. It will tell you a lot more about what you are doing. About price action and volume action. So what we are focused on is the volume action, right? There are about three elements, which go into the makings of a chart. Price, the most important one. Supporting one is volume, and the second supporting one is time. Okay, and at different replays, different days, different times of the session, and at different days of the week, each of these three play differently, right? So you know that between 2:30 and 3:30, because of the option plays and because of settlement pressure, because of this particular time, 2:30 to 3:30, the market works differently, right? And that point of time, the time becomes more important than price and even sometimes volume. But at certain
Good evening, everyone. A quick sound check. Hope the audio is clear. Let us start today's session. Great. So, as always, let's start with a weekly review of what has happened in the previous week before we can move forward, talking about what has happened today and then the probable moves for this week, which is a very important week considering that the expiry, May expiry is getting over, and then we have the all important event of the exit poll, which is on Saturday, and then the election result, which is on Tuesday. So, how is the market shaping up for that particular event? Let us just have a look at what has happened, starting with Nifty Spot. This is the previous week's profile. And as you all must be knowing, we have this weekly report which goes out in the forum section on the website, where we explain what has happened in that particular week, along with day-to-day brief about what each day is done. And then we have uh, one brief about the entire week and expected references for the week going forward. So as we can see, last week's profile is a double distribution trend up profile, because we started with a small narrow range 2-day balance, and then we had that big trend day up of more than 350 points, where we made this new all-time highs. We took out these weekly highs of 22795. We made new all-time highs, and on Friday we saw balance returning back to the auction, where we formed a nice Gaussian curve. So this is what happened last week. We can see the individual profile by just right clicking an unmerged profile. So we'll get the daily profiles of the view. So if we combine these 2 days, we get a good 2-day balance with a prominent POC. So you can see this is a 2-day balance, and this is the weekly POC. So you can see this is a 2-day balance, and this is the 22545, which is the prominent POC. And after this day, Shai had also mentioned on Twitter that we can look for a trending move away from this balance, from this POC. So what happened on Thursday was, which was also the expiry day, weekly expiry, we got a move away from this POC and we made a trend day up. So we took out these weekly highs and hit new all-time highs. So Friday we got back into balance mode after this big trend day up. So overall, if we see the weekly profile, we will find it as a double distribution profile with a balance at the lows and a balance at the highs. The POC of the lows is at 22545, which is the weekly POC also. And the POC which was formed in the 2-day balance at the top was at 22971, which was our reference for today's open. So so what did we do today? So I'll just split this profile and see what we have done today. So we'll take it TPO wise. So the, when we opened above the previous highs, but we could not sustain. And what it did was we got back into the previous day's value. So if I see the daily chart of spot, I'll be able to make out that we have made a nice 80% value of Fridays. So I'll just, so this is the Friday's daily profile, and this is the value area low. So you can see how we opened higher but could not sustain. And then when we probe lower, we took support at this value area low. And this was also mentioned in the hypos which was given for today. 22940 was our first reference on the downside. Whereas on the upside, we were looking for sustaining about 22971. So which it did, and it hit these new highs. And then once it took support, we went on to get couple of range extensions in the F, G and H period. So this was looking like it is expected to continue higher because we had left an extension handle here at 23042. So when do we uh, identify that the trend is coming to a pause, or the auction is converting from an imbalance to a balance? Because see this, when we took support at the value area high and started making higher highs, from the B period we made higher high in the D, E, F, G and H. But then once the H period was done, the first indication was this marginal new highs. So first sign was we are not able to extend much higher. So when we are making similar lows or very marginal highs, that is a sign of exhaustion to the upside. And when then finally when we break and start making lower lows, that is where we get confirmation that now the PLR, the path of least resistance, is changed to the downside. So that is what happened. Once we stop making higher highs in the I period and then broke the lows of H in the JTPO, this was an indication that now the auction has turned neutral. It was bullish till then, but now it is turned neutral. And in the K period, when we took out this extension handle of 23042, it was very clear that the break of these IBH was a sign that new lows could come in the day. And again, what we did in the L period, it is swipe through this value of yesterday. We made the 80% rule and we went on to get into this JTPO singles from the trend day. So we made a low of 22871 today. So if you see the weekly report, we have certain levels. In the weekly profile, these are extension handles, the start of the single TPOs. The topmost extension handle is at 22860. Then we have another extension handle at 22768, and then 22733, and the first one is at 22629. All these levels have been given in the weekly report. So these will be our references on the downside for this week. Whereas on the upside for tomorrow, you can see we have formed an outside day, both in terms of range and value. So what we can do is we can even combine these two days profile and use this value area as our reference for tomorrow. So anyways, we have this buying tail of today, which would be the support, and we have this POC, which is again at 22974, above which we will need to get accepted for more upside. And as we saw in the daily chart, we have the scene of crime at 23044, and then the selling tail at 23109. So this is what we are looking for in the coming sessions. We have it not exactly a 2-day balance, but today's value was overlapping with Friday's. So in that case, we will need to again move away from this value. And how we move away, that will give us a sign of how things are going forward. So I'll just split this so that we can be clear about what hypos we can use for tomorrow. These levels will get updated in the weekly report as for tomorrow's date, so you can always go back and check that. But for now, because we are discussing this, we can see we have the close today is at 22932. So our first reference would be this value area, the 2-day value area low, which will be around the 22940 mark. So that will be a first reference on the upside. And then this POC of today, which is at 22996, would be our next reference on the upside. And then we have this scene of crime, which was an extension handle and which got negated to 3044. And then today's small selling tail. So this is what we will look on the upside. Whereas on the downside, as I already mentioned, this buying tail would be the first reference. 22921 is the buying tail of today. And this extension handle of 22860 from 23rd of May would be our first support. If this extension handle is taken out, then we have the lower extension handle at 22768 and 22733. So these will be our references for uh, the coming days auction in this week. And whereas this 10-day POC would be the swing reference for the longs. In any case we close below this 22673 on a daily basis, then this entire bullishness which had started from this initiative buying tail would get negated in Nifty. So this is what we are looking for. So this is as far as Nifty is concerned. In case there are any questions regarding Nifty spots, you can please ask them before we move on to the Bank Nifty charts. So any questions there? Fine. Then let's get on with the Bank Nifty spot, and then we will have a look at the futures, and then finally I'll show you how we can use market profile chart even on option charts, and I'll show you what we did in today's trades. So again, this is the weekly profile. Bank Nifty weekly profile last week was a neutral extreme to the upside. So why was it a neutral extreme? Because Bank Nifty opened, you can see Bank Nifty opened above previous week's value. Tuesday, Monday was a holiday last week. And you can see this 48259 was a failed auction. It left an FA because we closed below the IBL on that day. In fact, we had an FA at lows also, which was 47962. But at the close, it closed below the IBL. So this FA was more prevalent. And what we went on to do on the next day is we completed the 180-hour target of this FA, which was coming to 47625. And then we left a responsive buying tail. So as you can see, this attempt to probe move out of previous week's value got rejected, and the next day we swiped through the previous value. This weekly value was a nice balance, so we swiped through this value, but this move came in the L period where we got swift rejection at the lows. So this was very clear. This is a nice long responsive buying tail. So this went on to almost negate this A period selling tail which we had in the morning. So we closed right at the weekly value area high on that day, leaving a 313 profile. What is a 313 profile? It's a balanced profile with tails at both ends, with extremes at both ends. So we this was just like in Nifty. We had the 2-day balance from where we were expecting a move away. This 313 profile also is a setup from where we can expect a move away, because it was very clear there were two parties which were fighting, and there was a good chance of one of the parties uh, getting complete control, which is what happened as this A period selling tail got negated with an initiative buying tail, and we formed this big trend day in Bank Nifty on Thursday. So just like Nifty, we again got back to balance mode on Friday, and we made a nice Gaussian curve. So but Bank Nifty is way below uh, the all-time highs it made on 30th April. In fact, in Bank Nifty, we had made new high, new 3rd of May we had made highs of 49607. So even this month highs was kind of sustaining. So from there, from 3rd of May, we had got good selling activity in Bank Nifty. The monthly POC also, which was at 49244 when the May month started, was very clearly showing that it was the sellers who were coming in at that level and who came on to cover their positions at 47726. Now the existing POC of the May month is at 47726. So this was a classic setup of how the sellers entered at the highs and then brought the market down and then completed their profit booking almost 1600 points lower. So the POC shifting on the highest time frame was telling us that the sellers are booking profits. So what happened last week is from this 313 profile, we got a trending move higher. So the weekly profile was a neutral extreme one to the upside, because we opened with a move. We broke the opening day's lows on Wednesday, and then went on to get back above those highs on Thursday, and we made the close around the highs. So what happened today in Bank Nifty relative to previous week was we had a bullish start because we were above previous week's value. And what did we do? We left an AP rate buying tail. We hit this POC of 49244, and then we went on to probe higher into this weekly value of 29 from 29th April to 3rd May. So if I go on to the daily chart of Bank Nifty, we can clearly see what were the selling references which had come in the month of May, which we had taken out today. And where exactly did we stall? So these levels have also been given in the weekly report. I'll just post a link to the weekly report as well. So we have a daily report which has the futures levels, and then we have the weekly report which gives us the spot levels. And this weekly report has the hypos updated on a daily basis based on what auction has happened. So you can see this was a bullish start in Bank Nifty. We opened above this highs, and we left an AP rate buying tail. And then we went on to make range extensions considered to be a valid one. So D period making new highs was a clear indication that the buyers are in control, thanks to the buying tail we had at the open. And then we went on to leave an extension handle in the F and made new highs in the G. So if I, what I'll do is I'll just shift to the daily so that we can look at levels which would be important in the coming days. So now we have the daily profile chart of Bank Nifty spot, and you can see this 3rd of May was where we got that big initiative selling tail and a trend day down. So the selling started here, and it was after we made these new all-time highs on 30th April, which got rejected. So we can see we have this big rejection after the K period made new highs. So 49721 was this reference for us on the upside, and these references, as I said, are given in the weekly report. So this was one objective on the upside, but as we started here, we are looking to first take off this extension handle and this selling tail, which we did. But in this G period, when we made new highs, we continued this one time frame higher, but the G period stalled right at this IBH level of 49672. We made a high today of 49689. So we were stalling at this scene of crime from 30th of April, from where the seller had first appeared, and then he again reconfirmed on the 3rd of May. So although we negated this 3rd of May selling tail, we were not able to take this off. So what we have done today is we've left a scene of crime right here at the lows of G period, which is around the 49500 mark. And then we went on to retrace the entire up move of the morning. So we have not broken the AP rate lows, which is again an important reference. 49051 was the weekly HVN in Bank Nifty spot. So this will continue to remain an important reference. But for now, the upside looks to be uh, paused by some profit booking as well as supply coming back. So this 49500 level would be an important reference for this series, because from here is where the auction changed character today. And the POC is at 49318. So this will be one important reference now for immediate on the upside for tomorrow and this week's expiry, which is on Wednesday. So on the downside, we have this small selling, small buying tail at the lows. And if we sustain below this 49150 level, we can get back into this value and tag this POC of 4886836. So value form today was completely higher on the daily chart, but as we know, we have all we went on to hit new highs for the month, but we have left a small responsive selling tail, and we have retraced the entire move which we had done from morning. So we will have to first get back above this POC and then take off this 49500 level, and then this scene of crime at 49721 for us to be able to make new all-time highs for this month. So this is how we are placed for tomorrow. On the downside, we stay below this profile of today. It gets weaker for a test of these VPOCs of 48836 and 48540, which is the trend day POC. So this is how we are placed in the Bank Nifty spot. These levels which I have spoken about will be updated in the weekly report. So you can have it look before the market opens tomorrow of what the spot hypos would be. So in case we have any questions, I would be happy to answer them before I move on to the futures chart and we have a quick look of what has happened on the daily chart in Nifty and Bank Nifty futures. Paresh Avlani has a question asking if Bank Nifty spot can touch 48,900. Yes, as I spoken, this would be our first reference uh, uh, because the close has been at 49281. The Bank Nifty is closed near the POC of today. So this POC would be our first reference on the upside. Staying below this POC, we would remain weak, but we have this AP rate tail which was just swiped through. We did not accept this. So in case we get back and get accepted below this 49160 level, then we are on to for this test of this value. We get into this value, there is a very good chance of we doing the 80% rule, what we saw in Nifty today. We are only covering Nifty and Bank Nifty, so I it's better we have the questions related to only these two index. So any more questions about Nifty spot and Bank Nifty spot, guys? Today's move was not a failed auction because we remained above the IBH for good amount of time. Failed auction happens only when the sustaining time wise and range wise is not huge. So half an hour, 30 minutes is the time which we give. If it remains for less than 30 minutes outside the initial balance and then breaks the other end, only then we have a failed auction. For example, what we had on 21st of May, where we broke the IB, but we did not sustain. So you can see this is a failed auction because we did not close below the IBL. So as I mentioned, even the lows was a failed auction because even the C side did not sustain and we went on to get above the IBH. But which of the FAs is in play would be decided by the fact where the auction is closed. Fine, guys. So if there are no more questions about the spot, I will just quickly rush through the futures chart of Nifty as well as Bank Nifty and see what is in store. So in the futures chart, we can add lot of more features using the KRL, the key reference levels. So what we do is we add anchored VWAPs, and along with the anchored VWAPs, we add the two SG bands of that anchored VWAP. So anchored VWAPs can be added at important references which are swing lows or swing highs, and also on a day where you have a definite change of bias. For example, 23rd of May was a trend day and we had this AP rates buying tail and it moved away from this balance to a new imbalance. So here if you see on my chart, I have three KRLs. So the three KRLs, the first one is from the swing low of 13th of May, where we also left an FA. There was a failed auction in Nifty futures at 21,900 on 13th, which was actually the end of the downside. So we always maintain that how failed auction gives us important reversal points or swing references. So that was one level which completely changed the direction of the auction. From 21,900, we have come on to hit a high of 2,3177 today. So that has been a good FA, and we have not tagged that after the T plus 6, so that automatically had become a swing positional reference. So that, so I'll just quickly go on to that. And what we do is, once we start to form overlapping values and we have formed a good balance on the higher time frame, we make a composite and then don't look at the daily uh, references of that chart, but just for our purpose of seeing how this 13th of May had left an FA at 21,900, I've just unmerged the chart and split this J's profile. So this was that day where the auction completely, not completely, but gave us the first hint of that tide is turning from downside to the upside. So the first anchored VWAP is from 13th of May, and then the second anchored VWAP is from the swing low of 22154, which we hit on 16th of May. So obviously, auction will not keep moving in one line. It will always give you a move and then retrace a bit and then again resume the move. So what we did on 16th was, and this was right before this VPOC of this balance. So this was again a key reference, because we are leaving a new swing low on the daily chart. So these anchored VWAPs, you can see where the buyers of that day would be defending. And after we formed the trend day on 23rd, I added the third KRL. These are shared in the daily report which I post on the website, and these links are shared. So whatever I've added here, if you open that link, you will also see it in that particular chart. So why are these important? So let me come to that, and let us see what has happened today in the Nifty futures profile. So today what we made an open auction in range and we remained in previous value, and we made lower lows in the B period. But the turning point was when we made a range extension in the E. This is where it was getting clear that we are going for upside. Otherwise, till this point it was looking as if we are going to form a 2-day balance, and we will remain in previous value, because on Friday we had got one seller at 23063, and this is where we were stalling from morning today. So you can see this KTPO POC, which is at 23063, which is an RS POC. So this is where we were stalling in the morning, and it was not letting us go higher, which was taken out in this E period extension handle. So we in fact got an scene of crime right at the 23065 level now for tomorrow also. Once this was taken out, we started to probe higher, because this is new all-time highs in Nifty, uncharted territory. We had no prior reference. But how do we take it here? These small green dash lines are the two standard deviation bands from the anchored VWAP. So 23074 and 23154 was our references before the market opened today. So once the market opens, we have these new bands which come up. So these bands, the two standard deviation bands from anchored VWAP, serve as important profit booking objectives. So it is always important, if you are long, you book profits at these points. And the anchored VWAP, the revised anchored VWAP, will act as your support level. So whenever you're getting a dip to that reference, you can look to go long, provided you're getting confirmation from the order flow also. So why? So what we did today is we made higher highs till the G, and then we broke this F period singles, and we took out this extension handle which we had left. So this was a clear sign that the things have changed, and the buyer, it is more of stuck buyers who have got caught upside down, and the sellers who are putting the piling up the pressure. So in the afternoon, when you have a VWAP breaking of a double distribution trend day, which it was till the K period, we always have a very good chance of getting new lows for the day, which happened. And what happened then was, you can see this anchored VWAP from the trend day was a 22916, and this reference was there in the business areas of the daily report. So the low we made today was 22921. In fact, in the trading room, when we made that low, I had immediately mentioned that it is holding this anchored VWAP of 22916. So which was expected because this is a buyer driven trend day. So we can expect some defense at this level. So now this anchored VWAP has come up to this level after today's auction, 22956. So this will be our immediate reference on the downside for tomorrow. So in case we sustain below this, we are looking for a tag of this 22861, which is the trend day VWAP, and these lower extension handles from the trend day. So Nifty futures is interestingly poised as it has left a neutral day today, whereas on the upside we will need to get above this scene of crime, which is today's VWAP also at 23065, which I already showed you how we had a seller on Friday at the same level. So this is how you can add these anchored VWAP and check how the auction is behaving as per the added level. So but it is very important to add them at important dates. For example, when we made that swing high on 3rd of May in Nifty, we had even on from that day on the upside. So as long as that anchored VWAP was holding, we were looking at the sellers holding the trend. So I'll just quickly show you how we do it. Yeah, sorry, I got confused. We have not made new highs. So this was the swing high which we made on 3rd May. So what we do is once the swing high is confirmed, and this was also a trend day, so we add the custom KRL anchored VWAP plus the 2SG bands, and this is a swing high. So this is what we do, and this was a 22888. And because this is a sell side thing, I will have it marked as a red line so that I know till this line is not taken out, the sellers are in control. So you can see how on the downside date, this 16th of May was the first day where we closed above this anchored VWAP. Otherwise, 13th we got that failed auction. 14th and 15th we tested this VWAP, but we are not able to close above this anchored VWAP. And then on 16th was the first time where we closed above this anchored VWAP. So this was a signal that now this will show a change of polarity. So this became support, and you can see after that we have not been. So once we close above the anchored VWAP, it is getting negated. So from there we started adding the anchored VWAP to the downside, the buyers. So this is how we use anchored VWAP along with the standard deviation bands which we have, and it's a very important feature on the futures chart which you can use even on options. Even the options give you some fantastic references, especially the monthly options which will be expiring on 30th for Nifty. So coming back to the futures, as we have already spoken, we will have to get above this scene of crime of 23065 and today's VWAP for more upside in this week. Else we are looking for testing this trend day references. So a quick look at the bank Nifty futures. Before we can wind up the futures, the swing low was again on 13th where we made that FA of 47,200, and the next anchored VWAP is from the swing low of 47,611, which was last week's bar where we the Wednesday's auction where we made that swipe in the L period and got some good demand coming back. And the third one is the trend day of 23rd. So how are the VWAPs placed for tomorrow? So this is the first anchored VWAP which you can see 48926. So this will be our first reference support zone for tomorrow. Whereas on the upside, we have a neutral center profile in Bank Nifty because we have closed right at the POC. We will need to see how we open in relative to this POC. VWAP has to be taken out for upside, and then we have this HVN at 49700, which will be the upside reference. So this is how we will look to trade the Bank Nifty futures tomorrow and for the expiry on Wednesday, and we will need to get extra confirmation, the similar confirmation from the order flow when we are looking for a trade in the market profile charts. So coming to the last part of the option chart, yeah, for trades. So this is exactly what I was talking about. So this is, so I'll just take off today's profile so that we know. So this is the market profile chart of Friday's close in the 23,000 call option. And the anchored VWAP which I was talking about, I have added them. Even this is option based on what the option has done. So we had a swing high on 4th of March in this option, and the swing high was at 635. Because this is a monthly option, we have uh, data from many more days available. And then we have swing low on the 20th, 22nd of May, and the trend day at 23rd of May. So as we can see, so this 22nd, 3rd of May was the first time when we closed above this anchored VWAP from that swing high. So that was telling us that we are looking for more upside in this call. And then the anchored VWAP of this trend day as well as this swing low was coming to this level 154 and 159. And as I mentioned, the anchored VWAP which gets negated tends to act as support. So this 135 was the support level for today. And today when we opened, you can see the B period made a low right around this 135. Now because today's data has been added, the anchored VWAP has shifted higher, but this will be our reference for tomorrow. For today, our reference was this 135. And when in the B period, we made a low taking support just about this, after which in the E period, we took off these two VWAPs. So it was a very clear signal of going long in this call and looking for higher levels. And here also, I'll show you one more concept of market profile, how we can achieve at the objective also. Because 30th of April was a failed auction at 239. And this 239 was one probable target in this call, which we hit. So this is where we stalled, and all this was discussed live in the room. I had given these references to all of us trading, and we were able to book out profit because we could not sustain above this 240. And as you can see, the GTPO POC is right there. It was a RS, responsive selling pattern, on the 30 minutes. So this is how we can use market profile charts to see what is happening in options and get references and act in live market based on what information latest we are getting at those levels. So what we did here again is, after we got rejected at the 240, we went on to retrace the entire move, and we have made these new lows. So again, for tomorrow, these VWAPs would be reference, but only when we are staying above this VWAP. If we are below this VWAP, there is no case for a long trade in this particular call. So similar to this, I have the 23,000 put also. which in fact was weak. Had these VWAPs on the upside, 169 and 158 was our reference on the upside. And today when we opened, we remained below Friday's VWAP. We went on to make range extensions lower. But the point to note was this shift in POC. Once the POC shifts lower, then it is important for the auction to continue making lower lows. If it is not doing that, then it is a sign that the late laggard writers in this option would get stuck. And this is what happened. And when in the L period, we went on to get back above the day's VWAP, it was very clear that the option writers who wrote at this late juncture were all stuck. And you can see the high it made was right near this 150, 169 level, which was our upper reference for today. So this was again a profit booking point for us in this put whenever we are getting a move in this for writers getting stuck and getting out. So the VWAPs always give you profit booking objectives, and you can look at these kind of setups, especially on expiry days. Today was not an expiry, but still we got this uh, kind of a dukan trade, which we call. But we can look for these setups more in on expiry days. So this is how we can use the market profile charts in options and get important references, and also know what the probable targets would be. So that is it from my side for today, guys. Hope you guys like this session. In case there are any questions, please feel free to ask before we can wind up. Great, guys. So I think there are no questions coming in. So we let's wrap it up for today, and let's look forward for a good expiry week. It cannot be one-sided because we have a big event coming up. So as we saw, and even Shai mentioned that it will not be a one-way street this week. So we will need to be in the best of our form to be able to trade them, and we will have to make use of whatever edge we have, and see to it we don't land up on the wrong side. So thank you for joining in, guys. So signing off for now, and looking forward to catch up soon again on Thursday.